The small scout ship Horizon drifted silently through the void, its engines running on minimal power. Lieutenant James Cooper sat in the pilot's seat, his eyes fixed on the sensor displays. This far from human space, discoveries were rare but potentially valuable. Cooper had been mapping this sector for 3 weeks now, and the monotony was starting to wear on him. Another day, another empty patch of space, he muttered to himself. Cooper was about to mark this section complete when a faint energy signature appeared at the edge of his sensors. He straightened in his seat, suddenly alert. The signature wasn't consistent with any known natural phenomenon. "Computer, analyze that energy pattern," he commanded. Analysis complete. The ship's AI responded in its flat voice. Energy signature matches no known natural or artificial patterns in database. Source appears to be stationary. Cooper's heart beat faster. New discoveries meant promotions, and he was due for one. He adjusted his course and guided the Horizon toward the mysterious energy source. As he approached, the ship's external cameras revealed a structure floating in space. It was clearly artificial, a space station of some kind, but unlike any human design. Its architecture featured smooth curves and sharp angles that seemed to defy conventional engineering. Most notably, it appeared to be abandoned. "This is Lieutenant James Cooper of the Earth Exploration Fleet. I've discovered an unknown structure at coordinates 357 to 890 to 104. Moving in for closer inspection." Cooper recorded his message but didn't send it. Communications this far out were delayed by hours, and protocol gave scouts discretion to investigate non-hostile discoveries. He'd submit a full report later. The Horizon circled the station slowly. Cooper noted that there were no visible weapon systems, and several docking ports matched standard configurations used throughout the galaxy. After running safety checks, he decided to dock and explore. "Computer, maintain ship readiness. I'm going aboard," he said, strapping a sidearm to his hip and grabbing his exploration kit. The docking process went smoothly, suggesting the station still had functioning systems. When the airlock completed its cycle, Cooper stepped into the station, his helmet's lights illuminating the dark corridor ahead. The air was breathable, according to his suit's sensors, but he kept his helmet on as a precaution. The station's interior was surprisingly intact. There were no signs of battle or hasty evacuation, just emptiness, as if the occupants had simply left one day. The architecture was elegant but practical, with markings in a script Cooper didn't recognize. Following the main corridor, Cooper reached what appeared to be a central control room. The moment he stepped inside, lights flickered on, and dormant systems began to activate. "Hello," he called out, knowing it was foolish but unable to help himself. Only silence answered him, but several screens around the room had come to life, displaying information in the same unknown script. Cooper approached one of the terminals and noticed an interface that looked similar enough to standard galactic designs. He pulled out his universal translator and attached it to the console. "Let's see what secrets you're hiding," he whispered. The translator took several minutes to process the language, but eventually began converting the alien text to English. Most of it was incomprehensible technical jargon, but Cooper could make out references to ship designs and weapon systems. His curiosity growing, Cooper navigated through the files until he found something that made him pause. The screen displayed what appeared to be schematics for a massive warship, unlike anything Cooper had ever seen. According to the translator, this vessel was designated as Project Terminus. The more Cooper read, the more his disbelief grew. If the data was correct, this ship design incorporated technologies that should be impossible. Power systems that could harness energy directly from subspace. Weapons capable of disrupting the atomic bonds of target materials. Defensive shields that could adapt to any form of attack. "This can't be real," Cooper said to himself. "These specs violate at least 3 laws of physics." But the data was comprehensive. Detailed schematics, material requirements, construction techniques, and theoretical frameworks explaining how each system would function. The unknown aliens had been planning to build this ship, but something had stopped them. Cooper continued searching until he found what appeared to be a log entry. The translator struggled with it, but the message was clear enough. Project Terminus suspended by order of the High Council. The potential capabilities of such a vessel exceed acceptable parameters for controlled warfare. It is the Council's judgment that no species should possess such power. All research is to be sealed, and the development facility abandoned. The date stamp indicated the message was over 300 years old. As Cooper continued exploring the database, he found another file, a message that hadn't been properly deleted. After translation, it read, "I cannot destroy this work. Though the Council fears what we have created, I fear what may come from the darkness between stars. Should any worthy species find this, may they use it more wisely than we would have. The safeguards have been removed. The knowledge is yours, but heed our warning. What can destroy enemies can destroy worlds." Cooper sat back, his mind racing. The aliens had created designs for a warship so powerful they'd scared themselves into abandoning it. And now he had found it. He quickly began downloading all the data to his ship's computer. If even half of what he was seeing was feasible, this could revolutionize human defense capabilities. The Earth fleet had been at peace for decades, but tensions with several alien federations had been growing. A technological advantage like this could ensure humanity's safety, or trigger a new arms race. The download completed, Cooper did one final sweep of the station before returning to his ship. As the horizon disconnected from the docking port, Cooper looked back at the abandoned structure. Whatever species had built that station had reached for a power they ultimately deemed too dangerous. Now he had to decide what to do with their legacy. Back aboard his ship, Cooper reviewed the data more carefully. The designs were elegant but complex. Some of the technologies described seemed to operate on principles human science had only theorized about. Building this warship would require resources and expertise beyond what any single person could manage. When Cooper arrived at Earth Central Station 3 weeks later, he immediately requested a meeting with Admiral Wilson, the head of the fleet's Research and Development Division. The meeting didn't go as he'd hoped. "These designs are fascinating, Lieutenant," Admiral Wilson said, flipping through Cooper's report, "but clearly impossible. Our top engineers would tell you the same." "Sir, I've spent weeks studying the data. The theoretical framework is sound. We've just never approached the problems from this angle," Cooper argued. The Admiral sighed. "Cooper, I appreciate your enthusiasm, but these specs describe a ship with more firepower than our entire fleet combined, protected by shields our weapons couldn't dent, powered by an energy source we barely understand. It's science fiction." "But sir—" "Enough," Wilson said firmly. "I'll have our team review the data, but don't get your hopes up. This was probably some alien species thought experiment, or worse, propaganda meant to be found. Focus on your actual duties, Lieutenant." Cooper left the meeting frustrated but not surprised. The military was notoriously resistant to outside ideas. As he walked through the station's crowded corridors, his mind was already forming a new plan. If the official channels wouldn't take this seriously, he knew someone who would. Dr. Lisa Reed had been his friend since academy days, and she now worked at the Frontier Engineering Corps. If anyone could make sense of these designs, it would be her. Cooper tapped his communicator. "Lisa, it's James. I found something you need to see. Something that shouldn't exist, but it does." Dr. Lisa Reed's workshop was a mess of tools, half-built machines, and digital displays showing complex equations. Unlike the clean, organized labs of Earth Central, Lisa preferred what she called creative chaos. It was this unconventional approach that had drawn Cooper to her in the first place. "So let me get this straight," Lisa said, her eyes never leaving the holographic display of the alien schematics. "You found these designs on an abandoned station, and the military just dismissed them." Cooper nodded. "Admiral Wilson thinks it's either alien fiction or some kind of trap. He wouldn't even let the engineering team do a proper analysis." Lisa snorted. "Typical. The military only likes new ideas when they come from inside their own ranks. She zoomed in on one section of the design. But this is incredible, James. If these power calculations are correct, this ship could generate more energy than our entire fleet combined. So you think it could work? Cooper asked, hope rising in his voice. Lisa ran her fingers through her short red hair, a habit when she was deep in thought. Theoretically, yes. The physics checks out, even if it pushes against what we currently understand as possible. The real question is whether we could actually build it with our current technology and materials. For the next week, Lisa dove into the alien data, barely sleeping or eating. Cooper brought her food and occasionally forced her to rest, but her excitement was infectious. On the 8th day, she called Cooper with news. I figured it out, she said, her voice hushed but excited. We can build this ship, James, not exactly as designed. Some of the materials they specify don't exist in our part of the galaxy, but I found substitutes that should work nearly as well. Cooper's heart raced. Are you serious? Completely. But we'll need help, and we can't go through official channels. If the military gets involved, this will get buried in bureaucracy for decades. What do you suggest? Lisa's smile was visible even through the video call. I know some people who might be interested in a private engineering project. 2 days later, Cooper and Lisa met at a small diner near the edge of Earth Central. They were joined by 2 others. Mark Davis, a burly man with a thick beard who had once been the military's top weapons specialist before a disagreement with leadership led to his retirement. And Tom Wilson, a thin, nervous-looking AI systems expert who had worked with Lisa on several frontier projects. This is highly illegal, you know, Tom said after Lisa had explained the project. Using military resources for a private venture. We could all end up in prison. We're not using military resources, Lisa corrected. We're using discarded parts and materials that have been written off. Technically, they're waste. Mark laughed, a deep rumbling sound. She's got you there, Tom. Besides, if this ship works like the design suggests, they'll be pinning medals on us, not throwing us in cells. And if it doesn't work? Tom asked. Then we've wasted some time and salvaged materials, Cooper said. No harm done. After much discussion, they all agreed to join the project. Mark knew of an abandoned mining facility on a remote asteroid in the Kuiper Belt that would serve as their construction site. Tom had access to several decommissioned AI cores that could be reprogrammed for the ship's systems. Lisa had already begun adapting the alien designs to work with human technology. Over the next 6 months, the team worked in secret. They created shell companies to acquire the materials they couldn't salvage, using Cooper's military salary and Lisa's research grants to fund the project. The mining facility, once cleared of old equipment, provided a perfect hidden dry dock for their construction. The ship took shape slowly. Unlike the sleek, streamlined vessels of the Earth fleet, this design was angular and asymmetrical, with sections that seemed to jut out at random angles. But Lisa assured them that every aspect of the design served a purpose, optimizing energy flow and weapon deployment. The power core is the most challenging part, Lisa explained one day as they worked. According to the schematics, it taps directly into subspace, drawing energy from the quantum fluctuations that exist between dimensions. Our science has theorized this is possible, but we've never successfully built a device to do it. And you think we can? Cooper asked. Lisa patted a large cylindrical device that hummed with a strange, almost musical tone. I already have. This is a scaled-down version of the core described in the alien data. It's only operating at about 10% capacity, but that's still enough to power this entire facility. The weapon systems were Mark's domain. He had adapted the alien designs to create what he called phase disruptors, weapons that didn't just damage targets but temporarily altered the atomic bonds of the materials they hit. It's not quite as powerful as what was in the original specs, he admitted, but it still leagues beyond anything in our current arsenal. One shot from this could disable a standard cruiser. Tom, meanwhile, had been integrating the ship's AI systems. The aliens designed this ship to be mostly automated, he explained. A crew of 5 could operate it, compared to the hundreds needed for our current capital ships. As the construction progressed, Cooper couldn't help but feel a growing sense of unease. The ship, which they had started calling Impossibility as a joke that stuck, was becoming more than just a theoretical project. It was becoming real, and with its reality came questions about what they would do with it once completed. "We'll turn it over to the fleet, of course," Cooper said when Lisa raised the question one evening. "Once they see it works, they'll have to take it seriously." Lisa didn't seem convinced. "And if they decide it's too dangerous? If they try to dismantle it or lock it away for study?" Before Cooper could answer, an alarm blared throughout the facility. Tom rushed to a console, his fingers flying over the controls. "We've got a problem," he said, his voice tight. "There's a Galactic Alliance patrol ship in the area. They're scanning for the source of our energy emissions." "Can they detect us?" Mark asked. Tom shook his head. "Not yet. We're masking most of our signature, but if they come closer..." "How long until the Impossibility is operational?" Cooper asked Lisa. She hesitated. "The main systems are functioning, but we haven't tested the engines or weapons in real conditions. We'd be flying blind." Cooper made a quick decision. "Shut down all non-essential systems. We'll let them pass by, then resume work once they're gone." The team complied, and the facility fell into near darkness, the only light coming from emergency systems and the eerie glow of the power core, which couldn't be fully shut down without a lengthy procedure. For 3 tense days, they waited as the Alliance ship conducted its patrol. The ship came close enough at one point that they could see it through the facility's observation windows, a sleek, official vessel with the Alliance emblem emblazoned on its hull. On the 4th day, Tom reported that the ship had finally moved on. They logged an anomalous energy reading, but classified it as a sensor malfunction. "We got lucky." As they powered the systems back up, Cooper received an urgent message on his personal communicator. It was from an old friend in the fleet, warning him that strange reports were coming in from the outer colonies. Unknown ships had been spotted at the edge of human space, and several outposts had gone dark. "We need to accelerate our timeline," Cooper told the team, showing them the message. "Something's happening out there, and we might need the Impossibility sooner than we thought." Lisa nodded grimly. "I'll focus on getting the engines and defensive systems online. Mark, we need those weapons ready, even if they're not at full capacity." "What about the Alliance?" Tom asked. "If they come back, we'll deal with that if it happens," Cooper said. "Right now, our priority is finishing this ship." As the team returned to work with renewed urgency, Cooper stood looking at the Impossibility through the control room window. The ship that shouldn't exist was nearly complete. Now they just had to hope they would finish it in time. The emergency broadcast woke Cooper from a brief rest. He had been sleeping in 4-hour shifts for the past week as they rushed to complete the Impossibility. The message was being transmitted on all channels. Priority 1. "This is Admiral Wilson of the Earth Defense Fleet. All available ships are ordered to converge on the Proxima colony. We are under attack by unknown forces. This is not a drill." Repeat, "This is not a drill." Cooper played the message twice before calling the others to the command center. Their tired faces reflected his own concern as they gathered around the communications console. "It started," Mark said grimly, his usual jovial manner gone. Tom looked nervous. "The Proxima colony is home to over 2 million people. If they're calling for all available ships, then the situation is dire," Lisa finished. She turned to Cooper. "What's our status?" Cooper pulled up the latest diagnostic reports on the main screen. Main power is at 86% capacity. Hull integrity is solid. Navigation and life support are fully operational. Defensive shields are functioning but untested at full power. "And weapons?" Lisa asked, looking at Mark. The weapons specialist frowned. The main phase disruptors are installed but calibrated to only 60% of designed capacity. We haven't had time to fine-tune the targeting systems. Secondary weapons are operational but limited in range. What about the engines? Cooper asked. The subspace drive is online, Lisa replied. We've run simulations, but we haven't taken it beyond this asteroid's orbit. In theory, it should be faster than any ship in the Earth fleet, but I can't guarantee it won't tear itself apart the first time we push it hard. Cooper took a deep breath. The impossibility wasn't ready, but it might be ready enough. How long to Proxima at maximum speed? Lisa made some quick calculations. About 14 hours. A standard fleet cruiser would take 3 days. Then we don't have a choice, Cooper said. We have to go. Now. No one argued. They had all seen the reports coming in from the outer colonies over the past few days. Strange ships appearing without warning. Communications going dark. The few images that had been transmitted showed vessels unlike any known design. Black, insect-like craft that moved with unnatural precision. Within an hour, they had the impossibility prepped for departure. The ship hummed with energy as its systems came fully online for the first time. From the outside, it looked incomplete, with sections of hull plating missing and exposed conduits visible in places. But its core systems, the ones that mattered, were functional. I'm setting course for Proxima, Cooper announced as they took their positions on the small bridge. Tom, keep the communications channels open. We need to know what we're flying into. What about the fleet? Lisa asked. Do we announce ourselves? Cooper shook his head. Not yet. Let's see what we're dealing with first. The impossibility eased out of the mining facility that had been its birthplace. Its engines glowed with an eerie blue light as they powered up. Then, with a flash that briefly outshone the distant sun, the ship vanished into subspace. The journey was tense. Reports continued to come in, each more alarming than the last. The unknown attackers, which survivors were calling the Vex, had destroyed 3 Earth cruisers with minimal effort. Their weapons cut through standard shields as if they weren't there. Their hulls absorbed direct hits from Earth's most powerful weapons with barely a scratch. Approaching Proxima system, Tom announced after what felt like an eternity, dropping out of subspace in 3, 2, 1. The view screen flashed as the impossibility returned to normal space. The scene that greeted them was one of chaos and destruction. The space around Proxima was filled with debris, the remains of Earth ships and orbital platforms. In the distance, the colony itself was visible, its once bright lights now flickering and partial. And there, moving methodically through the wreckage, were 5 black ships. They resembled giant insects with multiple appendage-like structures that served unknown purposes. Each was at least twice the size of the largest Earth cruiser. They're attacking the colony's main dome, Tom reported, horror in his voice. Life signs are dropping rapidly. Cooper made a split-second decision. Battle stations. Mark, ready the phase disruptors. Target the nearest Vex ship. What about the fleet? Lisa asked. There's no time, Cooper replied. If those domes fall, everyone in the colony dies. The impossibility moved forward, accelerating toward the nearest Vex vessel. Its presence hadn't been noticed yet, a small blessing given their unfinished state. We're in range, Mark announced. Phase disruptors charged and ready. Cooper took a deep breath. Fire. The impossibility shuddered slightly as its main weapons discharged for the first time. Beams of blue-white energy lanced out, striking the Vex ship directly on what appeared to be its central section. Unlike standard weapons, which would have exploded on impact, the phase disruptors seemed to pass through the ship's hull, creating a rippling effect like water disturbed by a stone. For a moment, nothing happened. Then the Vex ship's movements became erratic. Parts of its hull began to distort and collapsed as the atomic bonds holding its materials together temporarily weakened. Secondary explosions erupted across its surface as internal systems failed catastrophically. Direct hit, Mark shouted, jubilant. Their hull integrity is failing. The remaining Vex ships immediately changed course, abandoning their attack on the colony and turning toward the impossibility. Their response was faster than any human vessel could have managed. "They've seen us," Tom warned. "All 4 remaining ships are on an intercept course." "Evasive maneuvers," Cooper ordered. "Ready the next shot." The impossibility banked sharply, its experimental engines responding with a speed that pushed them all back into their seats. The Vex ships fired, bright red beams that sliced through space where the impossibility had been moments before. One beam grazed their port side, sending alarms blaring throughout the ship. Lisa's fingers flew over her console, redirecting power. "Shields holding at 78%, she reported. That was a direct hit with enough power to destroy a standard cruiser, and we survived. "The designs were right," Cooper said, a grim smile on his face. "Ready another shot, Mark. Let's see if we can make it 2 for 2. The impossibility turned sharply, bringing its main weapons to bear on the lead Vex ship. This time, the enemy was ready, performing an impossible maneuver that should have torn any ship apart. The phase disruptor beam missed its center mass, instead grazing its outer hull. But even that glancing blow was enough to cause visible damage. Part of the Vex ship's outer structure warped and tore away, venting atmosphere and debris into space. "They're coordinating," Tom mourned, "attempting to surround us." Cooper studied the tactical display. The Vex ships were indeed maneuvering to box in the impossibility, using their superior numbers to their advantage. "Lisa, how much power can you give to the engines?" Cooper asked. "We're already at 90%, she replied. "I can push it to full capacity, but I can't guarantee the structural integrity will hold." "Do it," Cooper ordered. "Mark, target all 4 ships with secondary weapons. We're going to punch straight through their formation." As the impossibility's engines surged to full power, the ship shot forward at a speed no human vessel had ever achieved. The Vex ships fired repeatedly, but most of their shots missed as the impossibility's trajectory became nearly impossible to predict. The few hits that did connect were absorbed by the ship's advanced shields, which flared bright blue with each impact but held firm. As they passed through the enemy formation, Mark fired the secondary weapons, smaller versions of the phase disruptors that struck all 4 Vex ships simultaneously. The damage was less catastrophic than the main weapons had caused, but it was enough to disrupt the Vex coordination. "We're clear," Tom announced, coming around for another pass. Cooper checked the ship's status. Despite the intensity of the brief battle, the impossibility was holding together. The alien design was proving its worth beyond all expectations. "Open a channel to the Earth fleet," Cooper ordered. "It's time they knew we were here." As Tom established the connection, Cooper gazed out at the colony they had just saved. The impossible warship had faced its first test and passed. But this was only the beginning of what promised to be a much larger conflict. Admiral Wilson's face on the view screen was a mixture of shock, anger, and reluctant admiration. The aging military leader had been speechless for several seconds after Cooper had explained the impossibility's origins. "Let me get this straight, Lieutenant," Wilson finally said. "You not only disobeyed direct orders by pursuing this alien technology, but you also stole military resources, recruited other personnel into your scheme, and built an unauthorized warship in secret." Cooper stood firm. "With respect, Admiral, we primarily used discarded materials and personal resources, and that unauthorized warship just saved the Proxima colony when 3 of our most advanced cruisers were destroyed." The Admiral's jaw tightened. "That's beside the point, Cooper. What you did was necessary," Lisa interrupted, stepping into view beside Cooper. "The Vex ships would have destroyed the colony if we hadn't intervened. We've all seen the reports. 6 outer colonies attacked in the past week, and conventional weapons barely scratched their hulls." Admiral Wilson sighed heavily. "Dr. Reed, I expected better from someone with your reputation." "My reputation is built on following the science wherever it leads," Lisa replied calmly. And this alien technology led to a ship that can actually fight these invaders. There was a long pause as Wilson seemed to weigh his options. The battle over Proxima had been recorded from multiple sources. The footage of the impossibility destroying one Vex ship and damaging 4 others was already spreading throughout the fleet. In a time of crisis, results mattered more than regulations. "Report to Earth Central immediately," Wilson finally ordered. "Your ship will be impounded for study, and all of you will face a formal inquiry." But he added, his tone softening slightly, "I'm also ordering a full engineering team to meet you there. If this technology is as effective as it appears, we need to understand it immediately." When the transmission ended, the bridge was silent for a moment. "That went better than expected," Mark commented with a wry smile. Tom looked less convinced. "They're going to take the ship away from us, aren't they?" Cooper nodded slowly. "Probably, but they'll have to acknowledge its value first. And that means the design will be put to use, which was always the goal." The journey to Earth Central took 9 hours, a trip that would have taken a standard cruiser nearly a week. When they arrived, a full military escort was waiting, along with dozens of engineers and scientists eager to examine the impossibility. As predicted, the ship was immediately impounded, and Cooper's team was separated for questioning. Cooper himself was interrogated for 12 straight hours by military intelligence, explaining in exhaustive detail how he had found the alien station and every step they had taken to build the impossibility. On the 3rd day of the inquiry, Cooper was summoned to a high-security conference room deep within Earth Central. To his surprise, he found Lisa, Mark, and Tom already there, along with Admiral Wilson and several high-ranking officers he didn't recognize. "Please be seated, Lieutenant," Wilson said, his tone formal but less hostile than before. Once Cooper was seated, a woman in a Science Division uniform stood up. "For those who don't know me, I'm Dr. Emily Wright, Chief of Xenotechnology Research. My team has spent the last 72 hours analyzing both the impossibility and the captured Vex vessel from Proxima." Dr. Wright activated a holographic display in the center of the table. It showed detailed scans of both ships' internal structures. "What we've discovered is unprecedented," she continued. "The underlying technology in both vessels shares key similarities. Not just similarities. In some cases, identical design philosophies and components." Cooper leaned forward, confused. "Are you saying the Vex ships and the design I found are from the same alien species?" "That appears to be the case," Dr. Wright confirmed. "There are differences, of course. The Vex ships show evidence of significant modifications and a different aesthetic approach. But at their core, both technologies stem from the same source." "That doesn't make sense," Lisa objected. "Why would the same species create both the Vex ships and the design that can defeat them?" Admiral Wilson pressed a button, and a new hologram appeared, a translation of data recovered from the damaged Vex ship. "We believe we've found the answer," he said grimly. "The Vex aren't a natural species. They appear to be artificial constructs created to serve as enforcers." "Enforcers of what?" Cooper asked. "Technological boundaries," Dr. Wright explained. "According to what we've translated, the Vex were created by an ancient species calling themselves the Founders. The Founders believed that certain technologies were too dangerous to exist, and they created the Vex to prevent lesser species from developing these technologies." The implications hit Cooper like a physical blow. "And now the Vex are attacking us because we built the impossibility, a ship using technology the Founders deemed too dangerous." "That's our current theory," Wilson confirmed. "Your discovery and use of this technology triggered some kind of alert system. The Vex attacks aren't random. They're specifically targeting human colonies because we've crossed a line the Founders drew millennia ago." The room fell silent as everyone processed this revelation. "There's more," Dr. Wright continued after a moment. "The design you found, Lieutenant Cooper, appears to be what we might call a failsafe. The message you translated suggesting the design was abandoned out of fear. We believe it wasn't fear of what other species might do with it, but fear of what might be necessary if the Vex ever malfunctioned or exceeded their programming. So the founders created the Vex as enforcers, Mark summarized, but they also created the impossibility design as a way to stop the Vex if needed. Precisely, Dr. Wright nodded. It's the ultimate check and balance. They created enforcers to prevent dangerous technology from spreading, but they also created a countermeasure in case those enforcers became a threat themselves. Cooper thought back to the mysterious message he had found on the abandoned station. I fear what may come from the darkness between stars. The founder who left that message, Cooper said slowly, they must have suspected that something like this might happen, that the Vex might someday target a species that didn't deserve it. Admiral Wilson's expression was grim. And now humanity is caught in the middle of an ancient alien conflict. The Vex won't stop attacking until we abandon this technology, or until we defeat them. Can we defeat them? Tom asked, his voice small in the large room. All eyes turned to Lisa, who had been studying the technical readouts carefully. The impossibility proved we can hurt them, she said. But it's just one ship, and it's not even completed to the full design specifications. We were lucky at Proxima. Then we need more than luck, Wilson declared. We need more ships like the Impossibility. Cooper looked at the Admiral in surprise. You want to build more? Wilson nodded firmly. The Defense Council has authorized the immediate construction of 5 additional vessels based on the alien design. Dr. Reed, you and your team will work with our engineers to refine the technology and oversee the construction. And what about us? Cooper asked, gesturing to himself and his friends. You, Lieutenant, along with Mr. Davis and Mr. Wilson, are being officially reassigned to a new division, the Advanced Defensive Technologies Unit. Your job will be to train the crews who will operate these new ships. Your unorthodox methods may have broken regulations, but they've also given humanity its only effective weapon against the Vex. Cooper felt a weight lifting from his shoulders. They weren't being court-martialed after all. There's one more thing, Dr. Wright added. Her expression troubled. Our analysis of the Vex data suggests that these aren't all of them. The ships we've encountered appear to be scouts or advance forces. If we don't find a way to end this conflict soon, we may face a much larger invasion. The meeting concluded with a sense of both urgency and purpose. As Cooper and his team left the conference room, they knew that their discovery had forever changed humanity's place in the galaxy. The warship that shouldn't exist had become humanity's best hope for survival. So, Mark said as they walked toward their new quarters, from criminals to humanity's last hope in 3 days. Not bad. Cooper smiled, but his mind was already racing ahead to the challenges they faced. The impossibility had proven itself in battle, but the war was just beginning. And somewhere out there, the mysterious founders who had created both the Vex and the means to defeat them might still be watching, waiting to see what humanity would do with their dangerous legacy. 6 months passed in a blur of frantic activity. The shipyards around Earth and Mars worked day and night, implementing the alien designs under Lisa's supervision. What would normally take years was compressed into months through necessity and human determination. Cooper stood in the observation deck of Earth Central, watching as the 5th and final new warship moved into formation with its siblings. They were beautiful in a strange way, each one built on the same principles as the Impossibility but refined and improved. Unlike the rough, unfinished appearance of the original, these ships had smooth, complete hulls that seemed to absorb light rather than reflect it. The Phoenix, the Defiance, the Vengeance, the Guardian, and the Horizon, Mark said, joining Cooper at the window. Plus the original Impossibility, now fully upgraded. 6 ships against the Vex fleet. Cooper nodded. 6 ships that shouldn't exist, but they do. The past months had been difficult. The Vex attacks had intensified, striking deeper into human territory. 15 colonies had been attacked, with 7 completely destroyed despite the fleet's best efforts. Conventional weapons remained nearly useless against the alien ships. Only the Impossibility, darting from battle to battle, had managed to slow the advance. But now, they had a real fighting force. "Admiral Wilson wants to see us," Mark said, breaking into Cooper's thoughts. "The final crew selections have been made." In the Admiral's office, Cooper found Wilson looking more tired than he'd ever seen him. The war was taking its toll on everyone, but especially on those in command. "Lieutenant Cooper, or should I say Captain Cooper now," Wilson greeted him. "The final preparations are complete. All 6 ships are fully operational and their crews have completed basic training." "That's good news, sir," Cooper replied. "But basic training won't be enough against the Vex." Wilson nodded grimly. "Which is why I've approved your recommended command structure. Each ship will be led by someone who was involved with the original Impossibility project." Cooper had expected this but was still surprised to hear it confirmed. "So the assignments are final?" "Yes. You'll command the Impossibility. Dr. Reed will take the Phoenix. Her engineering expertise makes her the logical choice despite her lack of military background. Davis has the Defiance, and Wilson the Guardian. Commanders Lee and Rodriguez, who've both served alongside you in recent battles, will take the Vengeance and Horizon." The intercom on Wilson's desk buzzed. "Admiral, priority message from the outer sensor network." Wilson's face hardened. "Put it through." A holographic display appeared above the desk, showing a tactical map of the solar system. Red dots appeared at the edge, moving slowly but steadily inward. "Vex signatures detected at the system boundary," reported a tense voice. "Current count is 37 vessels, all larger than previously encountered types. Estimated time to Earth orbit, 48 hours. Cooper felt his blood run cold. 37. The largest group we faced so far was 8. "This is it," Wilson said quietly. "The main invasion force. Our intelligence suggested they were gathering for a major assault, but we didn't expect so many." "We're not ready," Cooper admitted. "The crews need more time." "Time is the one thing we don't have," Wilson interrupted. "This is the moment we've been preparing for. Captain Cooper, assemble your squadron. You launch in 3 hours." As Cooper rushed to the briefing room, where the command crews were waiting, he felt the weight of responsibility like never before. 6 ships against 37. The odds were impossible. But then again, so was the very existence of their ships. The briefing was short and to the point. Cooper laid out what they knew about the Vex force and their planned response. "We'll intercept them near the orbit of Jupiter," he explained to the assembled officers. "That gives us space to maneuver and keeps the battle away from populated areas." "What's the strategy against so many?" asked Commander Lee, a small, intense woman who had distinguished herself in previous engagements. "We use what makes our ships special," Cooper replied. "The Vex vessels are faster and more heavily armed than anything in the human fleet, except for us. We have the same technological base, which means we can match their speed and power." Lisa stepped forward. "The key is the phase disruptors. They affect the atomic structure of the Vex hulls in a way nothing else can. We've modified the targeting systems to focus multiple beams on the same point, which should increase penetration and damage." "What about their numbers advantage?" Rodriguez asked. He was a veteran of the early battles, one of the few who had survived an encounter with the Vex before the Impossibility arrived. "We stay mobile and coordinated," Cooper answered. "The Vex operate as individual units. They're powerful but predictable. We'll use squadron tactics, focusing our fire on one target at a time." The launch of the 6 ships was watched by billions across the human colonies. These strange vessels represented humanity's best, perhaps only, hope against the Vex. As they accelerated away from Earth, forming up in a tight V formation, with the Impossibility at its head, cheers erupted in mission control. Cooper felt the familiar hum of the ship around him. The bridge was more polished now, with proper stations and displays, but the heart of the vessel remained the same alien technology that had saved them at Proxima. "All ships reporting ready, Captain," Tom reported from his communication station. "Formation is holding as we accelerate." "Take us to battle speed," Cooper ordered. "Let's meet them as far from Earth as possible." The journey to the intercept point took less than 10 hours, a fraction of what conventional ships would have required. As they approached, the Vex fleet became visible on their long-range sensors. "They've changed course," Lisa reported, studying the tactical display. "They're forming into an attack pattern. They know we're coming." Cooper wasn't surprised. The Vex had shown remarkable adaptability in previous encounters. "All ships, this is Captain Cooper. Final system checks now. Weapons hot, shields at maximum. Remember your training and trust your ships." These vessels were designed specifically to fight the Vex. They shouldn't exist by any normal standard of human technology. But they do, and that gives us our edge. The two fleets closed rapidly. The Vex ships were massive black shapes against the stars, their strange, organic-looking design still unsettling to human eyes. They outnumbered the human squadron by more than 6-1. "They're powering up weapons," Tom mourned. "Evasive pattern Delta," Cooper commanded. "Phoenix and Defiance, target the lid ship. Guardian and Vengeance, provide covering fire. Horizon, stay in reserve, and watch for flanking maneuvers." The space between the fleets lit up as the Vex fired first. Dozens of red energy beams slicing toward the human ships. But the advanced shields held as the 6 ships split apart in practiced maneuvers, presenting harder targets while maintaining their coordinated attack. The Impossibility dived directly toward the center of the Vex formation, drawing fire from multiple enemies. As the Vex concentrated on what they perceived as the greatest threat, the Phoenix and Defiance struck from opposite angles, their phase disruptors converging on a single Vex vessel. The effect was dramatic. Where the Impossibility alone had damaged Vex ships, the combined firepower of 2 improved vessels tore the enemy ship apart completely. The explosion created a momentary gap in the Vex formation, a gap Cooper immediately exploited. "All ships, follow me through. Target second layer, Vessels 3 and 5. For the next several hours, space around Jupiter became a battlefield unlike anything humanity had ever witnessed. The 6 human ships darted and weaved through the larger Vex fleet, using their superior coordination and targeted strikes to slowly even the odds. 3 hours into the battle, they had destroyed 11 Vex ships while losing none of their own, though all 6 vessels showed damage from repeated hits. "The Guardian's main shields are failing," Tom reported as they regrouped for another attack run. "They can't take another direct hit." Cooper made a quick decision. "Guardian, fall back to defensive position. Everyone else, form up on the Impossibility. We're going for their command ship." Lisa's voice came through the comm. "Cooper, are you sure? We've never been able to identify a command structure in their fleet." "Look at their movement patterns," Cooper replied. "The large vessel in the center never engages directly, but the others consistently move to protect it. That's our target." The 5 remaining ships formed a tight arrowhead formation, with the Impossibility at its tip. At Cooper's command, they accelerated to maximum speed, their subspace drives pushing the limits of what even their advanced hulls could withstand. The Vex responded immediately, with multiple vessels moving to intercept. But the human ships were too fast, too coordinated. They punched through the defensive screen, taking damage but maintaining their formation. "All ships, target these coordinates," Cooper ordered, highlighting a specific section of the massive central Vex vessel. "Fire phase disruptors on my mark. Now." 5 blue-white beams converged on a single point of the Vex command ship. For a moment, nothing seemed to happen. Then, a ripple of energy spread across the ship's hull, followed by cascading explosions that tore through its structure. "Direct hit," Tom shouted. "Their core is destabilizing. All ships, break off and retreat to safe distance," Cooper commanded. As the human ships pulled away, the Vex command vessel erupted in a massive explosion. But what happened next was even more surprising. The remaining Vex ships suddenly ceased fire. They drifted, seemingly without purpose or direction. "They've stopped attacking," Lisa reported, wonder in her voice. All Vex vessels show power fluctuations. It's like they've been deactivated. Cooper watched in amazement as the once fearsome Vex fleet became little more than floating debris. The destruction of the command ship had somehow shut down the entire fleet. The founders built in a failsafe, Cooper realized, just like they left the designs for our ships. They never intended the Vex to be unstoppable. As the human ships cautiously approached the dormant Vex vessels, Cooper felt a mixture of relief and unease. They had won. Humanity had survived its first encounter with a vastly superior alien force. But the technology that had saved them came from a mysterious species that had vanished long ago, leaving behind both the threat and the means to defeat it. "Captain," Tom called out, his voice tense, "I'm detecting an unusual signal coming from the remains of the Vex command ship. It's some kind of message." On the main screen, symbols appeared that Cooper recognized from the alien station where this had all begun. As the translation software processed them, a simple message appeared. "The test is complete. You have proven worthy of the legacy. We will be watching." Cooper stared at the message, a chill running down his spine. This wasn't the end of something. It was the beginning. Somewhere out there, the founders or their descendants were watching humanity's progress, and the warships that shouldn't exist had just announced humanity's arrival on a much larger galactic stage. As the 6 ships turned back toward Earth, carrying news of their victory, Cooper knew that everything had changed. Humanity had faced its first real interstellar threat and survived, thanks to a warship that by all normal rules of human technology shouldn't exist. But it did exist, and with it, humanity's future among the stars was secured. The day the aliens came changed everything. Not with a bang, but with a yawn. The massive ship hovered over New York, its shadow stretching across the city like a dark blanket. Everyone expected war, or at least some grand speech about taking over Earth. Instead, the aliens sent down a small team who looked almost bored. "We are the Galactic Federation," said their leader, a tall blue-skinned being named Doran. His translator device made his voice sound flat and emotionless. "We have come to help your struggling planet." Tom Reed stood at the back of the crowd, watching with narrowed eyes. As a former military captain now working for NASA, he had been invited to this first meeting. Something felt off about these aliens. They didn't seem interested in Earth at all. "Your species has potential, but you are far behind," Doran continued. "We will give you aid to help you advance." Within a week, large containers began arriving from space. The Federation called it humanitarian aid, but when officials opened them, they found what looked like junk. Broken devices, half-melted metal parts, cracked panels. It seemed like the aliens had sent their trash. "This is an insult," said General Wilson at the emergency meeting. "They're treating us like beggars." Tom stayed quiet, studying the pieces laid out on the table. One particular object caught his eye, a small cylinder with strange markings. While others argued, he slipped it into his pocket. That night, in his small apartment, Tom examined the cylinder. It didn't look like trash to him. The design was too precise, the material unlike anything on Earth. He called the one person he knew could help. Maya White arrived within an hour, the best engineer Tom had ever known. Maya had been passed over for promotions because she questioned everything and everyone. Perfect for this situation. "So the aliens gave us their garbage?" Maya asked, taking the cylinder. Her dark eyes widened as she examined it. "Wait, this isn't garbage. This is..." She stopped, looking up at Tom. "This is advanced tech, really advanced." "That's what I thought." Tom nodded. "But why give us broken pieces?" Maya turned the cylinder, finding a small opening. "Maybe it's not broken. Maybe they just think we're too dumb to know what it is." Over the next few days, more shipments arrived. The government started storing the junk in warehouses, unsure what to do with it. Most people began to ignore the aliens, disappointed by their useless gifts. But Tom and Maya saw an opportunity. They got permission to study the alien materials, claiming they wanted to understand the Federation's technology level. No one expected them to find anything useful. The warehouse they worked in was massive, filled with containers of alien scrap. Maya set up a small lab in the corner, away from security cameras. "Look at this," she whispered to Tom one evening, showing him a piece of metal that bent and then returned to its original shape when heated. This material could revolutionize our entire aerospace industry. Tom picked up what looked like a broken engine part. "And this, the energy readings are off the charts. It's still active." Day after day, they cataloged the junk, slowly understanding that they were looking at pieces of advanced ships, weapons, and tools, just disassembled or slightly damaged. "They're not giving us trash," Tom realized. "They're giving us parts they think are too broken to be useful. But they don't know humans." Maya grinned. "We've been fixing things our whole existence. It's what we do." 1 month after the aliens arrived, Tom and Maya had filled 3 notebooks with diagrams and theories. They learned that the Federation consisted of dozens of species who believed themselves superior to primitive races like humans. "They're making a big mistake," Maya said, connecting 2 alien devices that sparked to life. "They think because we don't have their technology, we don't have the brains to use it." Tom watched as the connected devices projected a holographic map of the galaxy. "We need more people, people who think differently." They found Jack, a mechanic who could fix anything with moving parts. Then came Diane, a computer programmer who had been trying to decode the alien language. Lee joined next, a physicist who had already been experimenting with alien power sources. Together, they formed a secret team, working after hours in the warehouse. "What exactly are we doing here?" Jack asked one night, as they arranged pieces of alien tech on the floor in a pattern Maya had designed. Tom looked at the rough outline they had created, shaped vaguely like a ship. "We're learning. For now." But Maya had bigger ideas. "We're doing what humans have always done, taking scraps and building something new." The team worked tirelessly, connecting pieces that weren't meant to go together, solving problems the aliens thought beyond human capability. 3 months after first contact, Doran returned to check on Earth's progress. He met with world leaders who complained about the useless materials they had received. "We expected working technology," one president said, "not broken parts." Doran's expression remained neutral. "The gifts match your current development level. You must learn to crawl before you can walk." Unknown to Doran, in the warehouse across town, something miraculous was happening. Maya had connected the cylinder Tom first found to an array of other components. The resulting power surge lit up their entire testing area with blue light. "It works," Maya shouted as the alien engine hummed to life. "The propulsion system works." Tom stared at the glowing device, his mind racing with possibilities. "They gave us their leftovers because they thought we couldn't use them." They were wrong. Later that night, as the team celebrated their breakthrough, Tom unrolled a large paper on the table. On it was a rough design, bigger and more ambitious than anything they had discussed before. "What's this?" Diane asked, studying the drawing. "The future," Tom replied. "If we can make one engine work, we can make more. We can build something they never imagined possible." "A ship," Lee whispered, understanding dawning on his face. Tom nodded. "Not just any ship, something that combines their technology with human ingenuity, something that will change everything." Maya looked at the design, then at the pile of junk surrounding them. Her eyes shined with determination. "They gave us scrap," Tom finished her thought, "and we'll build the most feared warship in the galaxy." None of them knew then how prophetic those words would become, or how their secret project would soon reshape the stars themselves. 3 weeks after their first engine test, Tom's team faced a problem. The warehouse was no longer safe. Too many officials were asking questions about missing alien parts. "We need a new place," Tom said during their midnight meeting. "Somewhere off the grid." Jack, The mechanic leaned back in his chair. I might know a spot. My uncle worked at the old mining station on asteroid B7. It's been empty for years. Maya's eyes lit up. A space station. That's perfect. Getting to the asteroid wasn't easy. They needed a ship, supplies, and a way to move all their collected alien tech without anyone noticing. But Tom had connections from his military days, and Lee had friends at the space agency. 1 month later, they arrived at asteroid B7. The old mining station was cold and dark, but it had something priceless: privacy. Home sweet home, Diane said, her breath visible in the cold air as they floated through the abandoned corridors. She was already planning how to hack the station's old systems. Tom looked around at the large empty hangar, perfect for building a ship. No, not home. This is our shipyard. The team set up living quarters in the old crew section. During their first real meeting in space, Maya unveiled her detailed drawings. I call it the Phoenix, she said, displaying holographic plans created using alien tech they'd modified, because it will rise from the ashes of what they thought was junk. The design was like nothing seen before. It combined the sleek lines of human ships with the advanced systems of various alien technologies. Most impressive was the core, a power source created from 3 different alien engine parts that Maya had brilliantly connected. Will it actually work? Jack asked, studying the complex design. Theory says yes, Lee answered. These power readings are beyond anything humans have achieved. If we can harness it, we can, Maya said firmly. I've solved the connection issues. Tom added, and I've figured out the navigation systems. These aliens use different concepts of space travel, but the basics are similar. For weeks, they worked tirelessly. Each person brought unique skills. Jack could make parts fit together that weren't designed to connect. Diane decoded alien computer systems and created interfaces humans could use. Lee understood the physics behind the strange technologies. Maya saw the big picture, how everything should integrate. And Tom kept them focused, organized, and motivated. They faced countless problems. Sometimes alien parts would overheat or short out when connected to human systems. Other times, the power from the core was too strong and fried their equipment. After one particularly bad explosion that nearly cost Jack his hand, doubt began to creep in. Maybe we're trying to do too much, Diane said that night as they ate their simple meal of reheated space rations. Maybe the aliens were right. Maybe we're not ready. Tom looked around at their tired faces. Every great achievement in human history started with someone doing what others thought was impossible. The first flight, the first moon landing, the first Mars colony. This is no different. Except we're trying to build the most advanced ship in the galaxy with scraps, Jack said, bandaging his burned hand. Maya stood up suddenly. That's exactly why we'll succeed. Don't you see? The Federation builds ships using standard parts and standard thinking. We're forced to innovate, to see connections they can't. Her passion rekindled their determination. The next day, they tried a new approach. Instead of forcing alien tech to work with human systems, they created a hybrid interface, part alien, part human, that could translate between the two. It worked. The core stabilized. The navigation system came online. The weapons system, crafted from what appeared to be broken defense mechanisms, began responding to their controls. 3 months into the project, they received an unexpected visitor. A small Federation ship docked at the station. Tom and the others hid their work and prepared to face whoever had found them. The airlock opened to reveal Sam Green, Tom's old friend from NASA. Thought I'd find you here, he said, looking around curiously. The higher-ups are asking questions about missing alien artifacts. Tom tensed. Are you here to arrest us? Sam laughed. No, I'm here to join you. Whatever you're building, I want in. Sam brought news from Earth. The Federation was expanding its presence, establishing a permanent base. They continued to treat humans like children, offering limited technology and patronizing advice. They held a demonstration yesterday, Sam told them as they sat in the small cafeteria. Showed off one of their smaller ships. Made sure to explain everything simply so we could understand. What was their ship like? Maya asked eagerly. Fast. Powerful. But nothing compared to what you're building here, Sam said, having now seen the Phoenix. They have no idea what humans are capable of. Sam brought something else. More alien parts, newer ones, taken from recent shipments. These weren't broken, they were just deemed too advanced for humans to use. With these new components, the Phoenix truly began to take shape. The hull was assembled from a combination of earth metals and alien alloys. The bridge featured a mix of familiar human controls and advanced alien interfaces. 6 months after starting, they stood before their creation. The Phoenix wasn't pretty. Its hull was a patchwork of different materials, and wires ran along the corridors instead of neatly behind walls. But it looked powerful, dangerous even, with sharp angles and a sleek design, despite its makeshift nature. She's beautiful, Maya whispered, her hand touching the ship's side. Is she ready to fly? Tom asked. Lee checked his diagnostics one last time. All systems are operational, but we haven't tested her in actual space conditions. We won't know until we tried, Tom said. He looked at each team member. Who's coming? Every hand went up. They had all given up too much to miss this moment. As they prepared for the Phoenix's first flight, a message came through on their emergency channel. The Federation was calling all ships in the sector. An unknown hostile force had entered the system and was attacking a Federation outpost near Saturn. Tom looked at his team. The Federation ships won't get there in time. We're not ready, Lee warned. We need more tests. We're as ready as we'll ever be, Tom replied. And people need help. Maya nodded. This is why we built her. Not just to prove we could, but to make a difference. The decision was made. The Phoenix would have her trial by fire. As the engines powered up, humming with energy that made the whole asteroid vibrate, Tom took his place in the captain's chair. Let's show the galaxy what humans can do with a pile of scrap, he said. The Phoenix rose from the hangar, her makeshift hull gleaming in the starlight, ready to change the course of galactic history forever. The Phoenix shot through space faster than any human vessel had ever traveled. The view from the bridge was stunning. Stars streaking by as the hybrid engines pushed them to speeds that should have crushed them. But the alien shield technology, modified by Maya's team, kept them safe inside. How long until we reach Saturn? Tom asked, gripping the captain's chair as the ship vibrated beneath him. Diane checked their navigation system, a mix of alien star charts and human interface design. 20 minutes. That's impossible. It should take days. Not with these engines, Maya said proudly from her engineering station. We're bending space in ways the Federation doesn't think we understand. Sam monitored the communications. I'm picking up distress signals. The outpost is under heavy attack. Federation ships are responding but won't arrive for hours. Any information on the attackers? Tom asked. Sam shook his head. Only that they call themselves the Krell. They showed up without warning and opened fire. As they approached Saturn, they saw the battle. A small Federation outpost, a research station studying Saturn's rings, was surrounded by 5 black ships. The station's shields were failing, emergency lights flashing across its surface. Sensors detect 23 Federation personnel on that station, Lee reported. The Krell ships are heavily armed. Tom looked at his crew. None of them had combat experience in space. Their ship was untested. They were outnumbered 5-1. Options, he asked. We could call for backup, Jack suggested. Backup won't get here in time, Maya said, checking the station's shield readings. They have minutes, not hours. Tom made his decision. Weapons status. Online, but untested, Lee replied. The targeting system is a hybrid of 3 different alien technologies. I've never seen anything like it. Can you make it work? Lee nodded slowly. I think so. That's good enough. Battle stations. Everyone. Tom straightened in his chair. Let's see what Phoenix can do. The Phoenix dropped out of its high-speed travel near Saturn, the giant planet filling half their view screen. The attacking ships didn't notice them at first, focused on breaking through the station's last defenses. They haven't seen us, Sam said. We have surprise on our side. Not for long, Tom replied. Open a channel to the station. A moment later, a surprised Federation officer appeared on screen. His blue skin identified him as the same species as Doran. This is Captain Tom Reed of the Earth ship Phoenix. We're here to help. The alien looked confused. Earth ship? Impossible. Your species has no vessels capable of interstellar travel. We're full of surprises, Tom smiled. Hold on a little longer. Before the alien could respond, Tom turned to Lee. Target the nearest Krell ship. Let's show them what humans can do with some scrap. The weapons system Maya had designed was unlike anything in human or Federation arsenals. It combined 3 different alien weapon technologies that weren't meant to work together. The result was unpredictable but powerful. When Lee fired, a pulse of energy, part beam, part wave, shot from the Phoenix. It hit the nearest Krell ship and simply unmade it. The black vessel didn't explode. It disintegrated, breaking apart at the molecular level. Everyone on the bridge stared in shock. Did we do that? Jack whispered. Maya checked her readings. The weapon combined a Federation particle beam with a disassembly field from another technology. It's more powerful than I calculated. The remaining Krell ships finally noticed them. All 4 turned, abandoning their attack on the station to focus on this new threat. They're coming for us, Sam warned. Evasive maneuvers, Tom ordered. Jack took the controls, and the Phoenix moved with surprising grace for a ship built from mismatched parts. The vessel spun and dove between enemy fire, its enhanced shields absorbing the few hits that landed. The handling is amazing, Jack said with wonder in his voice. It's responding to my thoughts almost before I have them. That's the neural interface I installed, Maya explained. It's reading your intentions milliseconds before your hands move. The Phoenix danced around Saturn's rings, using the ice and dust as cover. The Krell ships were fast, but rigid in their movements, following standard attack patterns. They don't adapt, Tom realized. They're flying by the book. Then let's throw away the book, Jack grinned, sending the Phoenix into a maneuver no sane pilot would attempt, straight through a gap in Saturn's rings, scraping ice particles against their shields, emerging behind 2 Krell vessels. Fire, Tom ordered. Lee fired twice. 2 more Krell ships disintegrated. The remaining 2 ships broke formation, trying to escape. They're running, Sam reported, surprise in his voice. Let one go, Tom decided. The galaxy should know what happened here. Target the other. The 4th Krell ship disappeared in the same molecular disassembly as the others. The final ship jumped away, vanishing into faster-than-light travel. As the Phoenix approached the damaged Federation station, cheers erupted from the bridge. They had done it. Their makeshift ship had defeated 4 enemy vessels that the Federation feared. The station's commander, an alien named Tech, met them at the airlock. His expression was a mixture of gratitude and disbelief. You saved my crew, he said to Tom. But how? Earth has no such technology. Tom smiled. We didn't need your technology. We just needed your scrap. Tech invited them aboard. The station crew, a mix of different alien species, stared at the humans with new eyes. Gone was the patronizing attitude. Now there was respect, even awe. Our sensors analyzed your ship during the battle, Tech said as they gathered in the station's control room. It contains elements from at least 7 different galactic technologies, some of which don't normally function together. We made them work, Maya said simply. Impossible, one of the alien engineers protested. These systems are fundamentally incompatible. Not if you look at them differently, Lee explained. Where you see barriers, we see bridges waiting to be built. News of the battle spread quickly. The Phoenix had arrived at Saturn in minutes rather than days, destroyed 4 Krell warships with ease, and saved a Federation station. The story grew with each telling. By the time they returned to their asteroid base, messages were waiting. The Federation Council wanted to meet them. The Krell had retreated from Federation space entirely, and Earth's leaders were both proud and concerned about what Tom's team had created. "What do we do now?" Sam asked as they gathered in their makeshift meeting room. "The Federation will want our ship," Maya warned. "They'll say we stole their technology. And the Krell will return, looking for revenge," Lee added. Tom looked at each of his crew members, then at the Phoenix docked in their hangar. The ship that shouldn't exist. The ship built from alien scrap by human hands. "Now," he said with determination, "we show the galaxy that humanity isn't just another primitive species to be patronized. We're a force to be reckoned with." The Phoenix had risen, and the galaxy would never be the same. 3 days after the battle at Saturn, a large Federation ship arrived at asteroid B7. It carried Admiral Zorin, a high-ranking official with dark purple skin and cold eyes. He demanded to inspect the Phoenix. "This vessel contains Federation technology," Zorin said as he stood in the hangar, looking up at the patchwork ship. "Technology that was not given to humans for this purpose." Tom stood his ground. "You gave us broken parts. Scrap. We fixed them and built something new. That makes the Phoenix ours." Zorin's face hardened. "The Federation Council disagrees. They have ordered me to seize this vessel for proper study and disposal." "Disposal?" Maya stepped forward, anger clear on her face. "We just saved your research station. We stopped an enemy your ships couldn't reach in time. And we are grateful," Zorin said without sounding grateful at all. "But primitive species cannot be allowed to possess technology beyond their development level. It upsets the natural order." Tom looked at his crew. They had worked too hard to give up the Phoenix now. But fighting the Federation directly would make them enemies of every advanced species in the galaxy. Before Tom could respond, alarms blared throughout the station. Multiple ships detected approaching at high speed. Diane called from her monitoring station. "They're Krell. At least 12 vessels, heavily armed." Zorin paled. 12. Not even our fleet could stand against so many. "We beat 4 of them," Jack reminded him. "With the element of surprise," Zorin countered. "They will be prepared now. I must return to my ship and call for reinforcements." He turned to leave. Tom caught his arm. "Your reinforcements won't get here in time. But the Phoenix can fight. Let us help." Zorin hesitated, then nodded stiffly. "Very well. But when this is over, the ship comes with me." Tom didn't argue. First, they had to survive. Minutes later, the Phoenix launched from the asteroid, with Zorin's Federation vessel following behind. The Krell fleet was visible now, black ships against the stars, moving with purpose toward the asteroid base. "They tracked us here," Sam said quietly. "They want revenge for their lost ships. And they'll get more than they bargained for," Tom replied. He turned to Zorin, who stood uncomfortably on the bridge. "Admiral, your ship has better long-range sensors. What can you tell us about their weapons?" Despite his attitude, Zorin was a professional. "They've modified their ships. Added extra shielding against your disintegration weapon." Maya studied the readings. "They adapted quickly. But so can we." She worked with Lee to recalibrate their weapon system, changing the frequency and approach. Tom, meanwhile, developed a battle plan. "We can't take on 12 ships directly," he told his crew. "But we don't have to. Jack, can you pilot us through that asteroid field?" He pointed to a dense cluster of rocks near their position. Jack grinned. "With this ship, easily." "Good. The Krell ships are bigger, less maneuverable. We'll make them follow us into the field, then pick them off one by one." Zorin shook his head. "A desperate strategy." "Sometimes desperate works," Tom replied. It's how we built this ship in the first place. The Phoenix shot toward the asteroid field, its enhanced engines easily outpacing both the Krell ships and Zoran's vessel. The enemy took the bait, following them into the dangerous field of tumbling rocks. What followed was a deadly game of hide-and-seek. The Phoenix would disappear behind an asteroid, wait for a Krell ship to pass, then attack from behind. Their modified weapon worked despite the enhanced shields, though it took 2 hits instead of 1 to bring down each enemy vessel. One by one, the Krell ships fell, but they learned quickly, spreading out to search for the Phoenix, firing blindly into spaces where the human ship might hide. 3 left, Lee reported after an hour of combat. But we've taken damage. Port shields are failing. A hit rocked the ship, sending everyone grabbing for support. Warning lights flashed across Maya's console. Engine 2 is down, she called. We're losing maneuverability. Another hit, then another. The Phoenix spun between 2 asteroids, barely avoiding collision. We can't take much more of this, Sam warned. Tom looked at their tactical display. The 3 remaining Krell ships were coordinating now, herding the Phoenix toward a dead end in the asteroid field. We need a new approach, he said, thinking quickly. Maya, if we overload the main core, what happens? Maya's eyes widened. A massive energy pulse. It would disable anything nearby, including us. But we'd survive. Probably. But we'd be dead in space for at least an hour while systems reset. Tom turned to Zoran. Admiral, if we disable these last 3 ships, can you finish them off? Zoran nodded slowly, new respect in his eyes. My ship's weapons are operational. But your crew will be sitting ducks, I know. But you'll protect us, right? After all, you want this ship intact. A ghost of a smile crossed Zoran's face. Indeed. Very well, Captain Reed. Execute your plan. Maya went to work, rerouting power and preparing the core for a controlled overload. The Phoenix limped deeper into the asteroid field, the Krell ships closing in for the kill. Now, Tom ordered when the enemy was close enough. The core released its energy in a blinding wave that expanded outward from the Phoenix. The pulse hit the Krell ships, shutting down their systems instantly. It also washed over the Phoenix, and darkness fell on the bridge as every system went offline. Emergency lights came on, running on basic backup power. Through the viewports, they watched as Zoran's ship moved in, methodically destroying the helpless Krell vessels. When it was over, Zoran contacted them on an emergency channel. Impressive strategy, Captain, the Admiral admitted. You've eliminated the Krell threat entirely. For now, Tom said, but there will be others. The galaxy's a dangerous place, indeed, which is why advanced weapons must remain in responsible hands. The Phoenix floated powerless as Zoran's ship approached, tractor beams ready to capture the vessel. Tom looked at his crew. They had fought too hard to lose everything now. He nodded to Maya, who pressed a hidden button under her console. Suddenly, the Phoenix came back to life, systems returning much faster than should have been possible. What? Zoran exclaimed. How? Backup systems, Maya explained with a smile. Something we built ourselves, not from your scrap. Before Zoran could react, the Phoenix fired its engines and vanished into faster-than-light travel, leaving the Federation ship behind. They'll come after us, Sam warned as stars streaked by on the view screen. Let them try, Tom replied. We've had a good test of what the Phoenix can do. And now we know something important. What's that? Jack asked. Tom's expression hardened. The Federation isn't protecting the galaxy. They're controlling it, keeping lesser species like us from having power. Diane nodded. Where do we go now? We can't go back to Earth. They'll look for us there first. We go where we're needed, Tom decided. There must be other worlds out there, other species being handed scraps by the Federation. Maya smiled. And we'll show them what can be built from those scraps. As the Phoenix raced through space, its reputation spread. The ship made from junk that had defeated both the Krell and outwitted the Federation. The humans who turned scrap into the most feared warship in the galaxy. They were no longer the hunted. They had become the hunters. 6 months had passed since the Phoenix became a fugitive ship. 6 months of hiding, helping, and building a legend. Tom stood on the bridge, looking at the map that showed their journey so far. They had visited 12 planets, all developing worlds under Federation control. On each world, they shared the same message. Your scraps have value. Your people have potential. Captain, Sam called from his communication station. We're receiving a distress signal from Terox. The Federation is confiscating their technology again. Tom nodded. Set course. Maximum speed. The Phoenix had grown stronger with each mission. They had added new technology, improved their systems, and even expanded their crew. 23 beings now served on the ship, humans and aliens alike, all united by the belief that the Federation's natural order was just another word for control. Terox was a small planet with orange skies and tall, slender inhabitants. When the Phoenix arrived, a Federation collection ship was already there, loading containers of local technology deemed too dangerous for the Teroxians to keep. Standard procedure, Maya said bitterly as they watched from orbit. Take anything innovative, leave them dependent. Tom opened a channel to the Federation ship. This is Captain Reed of the Phoenix. Leave that technology where it belongs and depart immediately. The Federation captain appeared on screen, his expression changing from confusion to alarm. The rogue human vessel. You are ordered to surrender at once. The Phoenix is now the most wanted ship in the galaxy. We're flattered, Tom replied. Now leave Terox, or we'll make you leave. The Federation captain smiled coldly. I think not. You see, we anticipated your arrival. He pressed a button, and suddenly 6 Federation warships appeared from behind Terox's moon. It's a trap, Jack warned, hands moving over the flight controls. We expected that someday, Tom said calmly. Maya, are the new shields ready? Maya nodded from her station. The reflective shield system is online. Untested, but ready. Good. Jack, keep us out of their firing arcs. Lee, target their weapons only. We don't want to destroy them if we can avoid it. The Phoenix moved with incredible speed as the Federation ships opened fire. Instead of dodging all the shots, Maya activated their new shield technology, salvaged from an ancient wreck and rebuilt by their growing team of engineers. When the Federation beams hit the shield, they bounced back toward the ships that fired them. 2 Federation vessels took heavy damage from their own weapons. It works, Maya shouted excitedly. The battle continued above Terox, watched by millions on the planet below. The Phoenix was outnumbered but not outmatched. Its hybrid systems, constantly improved, gave it advantages the standardized Federation ships couldn't match. One by one, the Federation vessels retreated, their captains unwilling to risk further damage against this legendary ship. Finally, only the lead vessel remained. Your days of interference are numbered, the Federation captain said through gritted teeth. The Council has authorized the assembly of a special fleet to hunt you down. Nowhere will be safe. The transmission cut off as the final ship jumped away from Terox. The people of Terox celebrated their victory, but Tom knew the Federation captain was right. They had been lucky so far, but they couldn't fight the entire Federation alone. That night, as the crew rested on Terox, Tom called a meeting with his original team. We've done good work, he told them. But the Federation is building a fleet specifically to take us down. We need to think bigger. What's bigger than the Phoenix? Jack asked. Maya smiled. More Phoenixes. Tom nodded. Exactly. We've shown a dozen worlds how to use scrap technology. Now we teach them to build their own ships. A revolution, Sam said quietly. You're talking about a galactic revolution. I'm talking about freedom, Tom replied. The right of every species to develop at their own pace, in their own way, without some council deciding what they're ready for. The plan took shape quickly. The Phoenix would visit their allied worlds, sharing the designs and knowledge needed to build their own hybrid vessels. Each world would contribute what they could: resources, technology, people. For 3 months, they worked tirelessly. On 7 different planets, ships began to take form, each unique, reflecting the world that built it, but all based on the Phoenix's core design. The Federation wasn't idle. Their special fleet grew as well. 50 ships, the best in the galaxy, all hunting for the Phoenix. They found it near Earth, where everything had begun. The Phoenix had returned to recruit more human engineers and to collect the newest batch of scrap the Federation had delivered. The trap closed quickly. Federation ships surrounded Earth, cutting off escape routes. Admiral Zoran himself led the fleet. Captain Reed. Zoran's voice came through clearly on all frequencies. "You have led us on an impressive chase, but it ends today. Surrender the Phoenix and your crew will be treated fairly." Tom looked at his team on the bridge. They had known this day might come. "Admiral," Tom replied, "look at your sensors carefully. What do you see?" Confusion crossed Zoran's face as his officers reported in, then shock. Approaching Earth were ships, 7 vessels of different designs, all built from the same principles as the Phoenix. "Impossible," Zoran whispered. "No, Admiral. Inevitable," Tom said. "You gave scraps to worlds you thought were beneath you. We showed them how to build something beautiful from those scraps." The 7 ships took position alongside the Phoenix. They were smaller, less advanced, but together they formed a powerful fleet, the Alliance of Free Worlds. They called themselves. Zoran's face darkened. "You've armed primitives with dangerous technology. The Council will never allow this." "The Council doesn't have a choice," Tom replied. "These worlds built these ships themselves. They've claimed their right to grow, to advance at their own pace." For 3 tense days, the 2 fleets faced each other near Earth. Neither side fired. Behind the scenes, diplomats worked frantically to prevent a war that would devastate the galaxy. Finally, a compromise was reached. The Federation Council, facing pressure from within its own ranks, agreed to meet with representatives from the Alliance. 1 month later, Tom stood in the Grand Council chamber on the Federation capital world. Representatives from 23 formerly developing worlds stood with him. The Phoenix hung in orbit above, a symbol of what determination could achieve. "The natural order is change," Tom told the assembled council. "No species remains primitive forever. Either we grow together, learning from each other as equals, or we fight. The choice is yours." The debate lasted days. Some council members refused to see any species as equals. Others recognized that the old system was broken. In the end, a new system was born. The Federation became the Union, a true partnership of worlds at all stages of development. Technology would be shared openly, not doled out as scraps to those deemed worthy. As Tom returned to the Phoenix after the final agreement was signed, Maya met him at the airlock. "What now, Captain?" she asked. "Our mission is complete." Tom looked through a viewport at the stars beyond. "Our first mission is complete, but there's a whole galaxy out there, other species being controlled, other wrongs to right. And we have the perfect ship to do it," Maya said, patting the Phoenix's hull affectionately. Tom smiled. "Not bad for a pile of scrap, right?" The Phoenix departed the next day, heading for unexplored regions of the galaxy. Its legend continued to grow. The ship built from scraps that changed the fate of 100 worlds. The most feared warship in the galaxy, now the most celebrated. And on planets throughout the Union, when new ships were built, they carried a small symbol, a phoenix rising, reminding all that greatness can emerge from the humblest beginnings.